Hi guys, it's Blackie. Okay, today we're talking about canteen cup cooking again, and this time we're going to go back and look at the canteen cup cobbler that so many of you have asked about. Alright, the ingredients we're going to be using today are a yellow cake mix. I'm using a Jiffy, but just plain old yellow cake mix will work. How much? I'll show you how to measure it in a second. I like a lid to kind of trap some of the moisture in there. I like a nice long spoon to be able to get down all the way to the bottom. For carrying it in the rucksack, I prefer carrying these little cups of diced peaches. I prefer small pieces mixing this because when you mix it up and form a cobbler, it's easier to mix it with small pieces than big hunks. Okay, although you can put the half sliced peaches in there and just tear it up with your knife or whatever before you put it in, and then the cup. Now we're going to be using the titanium cup. Now this is going to be the first time I'm using this, and we're doing two-fold right here. Because first question is, does titanium add a taste to something? I've heard on several internet statements that people said that the titanium cup they got added a taste to it, and that such and such had a taste. Well, I don't have any experience with cups. I have a titanium spoon, a spork that I've eaten with, and I have not noticed a taste with it. So I have taken my brand new cup set, and I have washed it very thoroughly, and then I have put it onto the heat, and I brought water to a boil in it and let it boil for 5 or 10 minutes, and I poured it out, and I washed it again, and I boiled it again. So that's 2 boilings of this. So there's any kind of leftover residual from the manufacturing process I have removed from the cup. Now if it does add some sort of taste to it, that concerns me, because any kind of changing the vessel cause it to have a taste means that there's something leaching out of the metal. Okay, and I don't want that. Now I'm sure that it would be much more rampant, and I understand some people are more sensitive to taste than others. So we're going to see if I taste any difference, because I know what this is supposed to taste like, and it's got a funky taste. I don't know it came out of the cup, but I have heated up water and etc. and drank water out of the cup and not taste anything. But let's see. Okay, we're going to be utilizing the stove that comes with it because I want low heat. Let me say that again, low heat, because one of the things we know about titanium is it's thin, it heats fast, and therefore it scorches fast. And so I want low heat to allow the thing to cook slowly. So my Trangia, no, I ain't going to use it. Trangia would be fine for boiling, but it heats way too fast, and even with the simmering on it, I'm not going to drop it down low enough underneath this to not just scorch everything on the bottom. So I decided to go with Sterno, which is a lot cooler. Sterno is designed for heating, not cooking. So it is a much lower heat temperature generated by it. So in this, I should be okay, I'm thinking. We shall see. But to me this is the bottom denominator, okay, of cooking stoves. It's great to have in a survival kit for carrying the car or whatever, because it's gelled, there's nothing to spill, nothing to evaporate, as long as it's sealed up good, and it lasts for years upon years upon years. All it is gelled alcohol. And it's great to be able to take out, mosquitoes are everywhere right now, guys. It's great to take out and set a canteen cup on top of it and heat up coffee, heat up soup, heat up, not cook. It will take it forever to bring water to a boil. But for just heating something up that's already cooked, this is an easy way to go. And I prefer to use this for working with kids when they're first learning to cook. I prefer to use Sterno to sit down there as a heat source we can shut off and start easily, repeatedly. So we can get up there and start the process. Usually you heat up something like SketchUp or something like that, teach them to stir it, keep from scorching to the bottom. And then, you know, they can eat and you can show them, you know. I've done that several times with little ones with SketchUps and stuff, and put a little to the side and eat the rest of it. And then take that little, put it back in the bottom, put it back on the heat, and let them burn it. And say, see, this is how it burns. If you don't do this, it burns, and therefore they learn the process. Okay, you got to understand dark to understand light. So if you don't let them burn something, they don't understand what the signals are. It's burning, the smell, how it's scorching. See, it's sticking to the bottom, things like that. So for canteen cup cooking and simple cooking. Today we're going to do cobbler. So let me shift the camera around and we'll get going. Okay, first thing we're going to do, dig my lighter out of my pocket. Now we're going to put our heat source right there. We're going to ignite the heat source. Okay, there it's going. Now we're going to put the stove over it, just like that. And take the lid off. Now, I am not, like my handle, I am not going to set it up here like this. That would smother the heat, and it would force the heat to come out here right at my handles. I'm going to set it up there like that to protect my handles. And then at the bottom of the cup, I'm going to pour my peaches. Now this would be a good time to add a little extra sugar, a little brown sugar, etc. to change the flavor a little bit or to spice it up a little. Just let that start simmering. It's going to take it a minute or two, and that's fine. We're in no hurry. Now, how much yellow cake mix? I just filled the cup back up with yellow cake mix. So I'm going to get several servings out of this. Now this is old Jiffy yellow cake, and this is one of my favorites for carrying. They have an icing, they have a cake, they have a cornbread, they have a muffin, they have several different products. And all these were developed way back in the day, usually during the Great Depression before, to be real fast, really easy cooking. And so I found them to be really useful for this type of cooking. So, get that piece of plastic out of the way. Now we're going to fill this back up with the cake mix. Now, if you've got a good slow bed of coals, level it out like that a little bit. You've got a good low bed of coals. One of the things that you can do is not stir this up. Simply put in a can of peaches into a larger vessel, then put an entire yellow cake mix on top of it, one of the full-size boxes, and then you want to just put the cake all the way across the top, the cake mix all the way across. Allow it to heat up first, then completely cover it with the cake mix, put the lid on, and keep it on low heat for about 30 minutes. Now what's going to happen is the steam rising up out of the peaches and the syrup and etc. will rehydrate the cake mix and make cake on top, sort of a soft cake. Whenever you get done, you take it off, and about 30 minutes you let it sit there, and let it sit for about an hour, and it will cool off to where you can turn it up and shake it, and it'll come out with a hunk of cake with fruit on top of it, just drizzled all over it. Real simple. Now sterno is working perfectly fine for this because it's nice and slow. I'm just now getting good steam off of it. And I want to heat this up where it's just starting to boil. This little stove is designed to be able to use with coals or small gas stoves like you're seeing me using. And you got to look at your BTUs. That's the whole thing about using any kind of stove, is being able to regulate the heat. And so one of those burners like you see everybody, the little ones that comes out to the tank, and it's a blowtorch. And so whatever pot you put on it or whatever, it's a blowtorch. For boiling water and stuff, sure, super fast, but anything that's not liquid, you're going to burn it easy. So you got to do a lot of stirring, a lot of things. How low can you regulate it down? This is a really nice low heat, and I don't have to worry about burning it. But I'll do exactly what I need to, just heat it up very thoroughly. Almost time. You can put powdered coffee creamer into this. You can put packets of sugar into this. You can add a little bit of brown sugar to this. You can put a big dollop of butter in the middle of it. There's lots of ways to change this out. Now, what if I don't like peaches? Any of the little cups of fruit will work. What if I don't want that? I want blueberries. That's fine. But if it's really thick, like pie fillings would be, add a little water to it because you don't want it too dry. So I've used canned pie filling like this before in a bigger pot, and then just added water to it and stirred it up so it was like this consistency. Okay, we're starting to get some bubbles. Okay. Roll it around just a bit more, make sure it's fully at the right temp. If you put your cake in too soon and it's too cool, it burns. We want it to the point it's about to boil, so the steam's going to come up into it. Okay? See how sterno's perfect for this. Nice, even, low heat. My Trangia, even with the simmering completely blocking it off on it, would not do as well as this is doing. Okay, I got good steam coming off of it. Now, I'm going to add in a little bit of my my cake mix. Stir it up a little. I'll add in a little bit more. Stir it up a little. And finally the rest of it. Okay. Now if you can see that, see it's still a little bit slushy, and it becomes a lot like pancake dough. That's what I'm hunting. I don't want it dry. That's the reason I measured about 50-50. I want it to be about like pancake dough. Just keep stirring it until, and it's going to get a little foamy. That's good. That's what I want. Just lightly stir it. Keep them scorching that bottom. Now I've done this 100 times on coals of a fire. After a meal, this is so nice to be able to pull it off to the side on a cold night, pull a little bit of coals out the side, set this down with your canteen cup, make this up, and then let it sit there and the coals go out and let it cool, because you can't eat this when it's hot. It's scalding. You want to let it slowly cool back down until it's cobbler. I've made it before the meal so that I could enjoy it and then make it, I should say, and then go to my meal, and then after my meal's done, then come back to it after it's cooled off. Now, how long do you cook it? I like to cook mine somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes. It just depends on conditions. As hot as it is today, probably 6, 7, 8 minutes at the most. You'll know. There'll be a smell change. Every so often, it'll have a smell like baking bread, almost. It does that. Give her a turn. Alright. I'm going to try to scorch right there. It wasn't stirring it enough. I'm going to go diagonal. Heat it up. I did scorch it just a little bit right there at the bottom. Alright. There we go. Now we're going to set it aside, put the lid onto it, and let it cool off. It will gel up more when it cools off. But you can see that's what it looks like now. The cake is starting to form now. That glob right there, it's kind of like a really soft pancake, and that's what we're looking for. And it's thick, as you can see. It don't want to fall out that spoon. Tastes real good though. Alright, now we put that fire out and we let it cool off. And whenever it gets back where we want it, we will come back with it. Okay guys, now we have made up our cobbler. And I've given it about 20 minutes. There it is. Nice and thick. It's like a thick pudding right now. And yeah, there's just a little bit of scorch. Now, did it add any taste? Not any that I can detect. Tastes fine to me. So, again, you can make this easily on the trail. All you need is some sort of fruit and some sort of cake mix. Now, how about we vary this a little bit? Blueberries, or pie filling of some kind. Or how about sliced up strawberries in some sort of syrup and a little bit of water, and then put a strawberry cake mix on top of it. We used to call that Powder Puff Dump. The little ones, the little girls, back when the old Powerpuff Girls cartoon was going, we would make Power Puff Dump for the little girls to, you know, have something at meal. Strawberry flavored or cherry flavored or whatever. You can use mixed fruit. It's whatever you want. Now, if it's not liquidy enough, add a little water to it. So if I had blueberry pie filling, put a couple of big tablespoons up there, about the equivalent of that little cup, add a little water, stir it up, and I want to make sure it's more watery than thick. Okay, if that makes any sense. Then I add the cake mix to top of it when it comes up to the boil. Add brown sugar. Add whatever you want. The sky's the limit. It's super simple and easy. And about the size I made is a perfect thing for one person. So, I want to make a bigger pot of that, Blakey. I can dump an entire can of peaches or fruit in here and then do that equivalent on up there with the cake mix, just like we did it. You just scale it up. So for solo, I carry the Jiffy cake mix and I carry the fruit cup. And I can sit there by the fire, make this up before my meal or after my meal for a treat later on, and have it good to go. What if I don't want to eat it right now? I don't want to eat all of it. I can rake it into a bag, put it in refrigeration, or keep it for a couple hours. Now, since this is sugar and fruit, okay, don't make it today and eat it tomorrow. Bacteria. So we want to, within reasonable time, consume it. Okay? Hope this gives you some ideas, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please do me a favor and hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Until next time, I'm Blackie wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.